Let's have some viewers and then we will start.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Have you been doing anything recently?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Have you been doing anything recently?
Wow, a lot of things. Well, with personal life, kids back to school and things like that. But business wise, a lot's going on with inventory management and things like that. That is taking up a lot of time.
Oh, interesting. Well, let's just talk about it when we start. So that
Of
sounds like
course.
Yeah.
so.
All right. All right. Assalamu alaikum and hello everyone and welcome to the another episode of Level Up Amazon podcast. And today we have Sumana with us. Thank you so much, Sumana, for joining us today.
Hi, Zishan. Thank you so much for having me. Hello, Howard.
Thank you for coming on.
All right, awesome. So, Sumana, we would love to have a little bit of your background, like how you came into in this space on Amazon and what you are doing currently.
Yeah. So I was before starting on Amazon, I used to own a brick and mortar business that I ran for about 7 years. And before that, I was a branch manager at Wells Fargo. And kind of decided to start with the brick and mortar franchise model. Started with one location and kind of went into having multiple locations and had three different locations for that. It was a math and English learning center. After about 7 years, it kind of became where I was always at the business because it was an after school learning center. I was at the business, running the business, helping other kids do better, which was great. But when it came to my own kids, I was actually not home when they got back from school. So I kind of decided, it was time for me to sell the business and just stay home for some time. That was the plan back in 2019, end of 2019. And I went to list that online for sale. And before I could even list it, I actually noticed this Amazon business for sale. So this shining object that, that said work from home. And it was a good bit of 7 figures earning. And I'm like, wow, I can actually sit at home and work and make that kind of money, which was crazy because I wasn't making that much money running three locations for that franchise. So I just kind of thought I'll kind of explore that a little bit. And that's kind of how I got into Amazon FBA in February of 2020.
February of 2020. All right, great. Awesome. And how did you met Howard?
Oh, we actually met at a conference in Howard. We actually had some good conversations there. Howard is so full of knowledge, and he's just he's a huge bank of knowledge. So everybody loves to go talk to him and kind of get a little bit of that, and that's kind of how we met. I was asking him some questions. We were discussing some things. Yeah.
I think it was Cancun, Mexico, right?
That's right, Cancun. Yeah.
Yeah, recently. I mean, 2020. It's just kind of you just started, but it's like you did so much already. It seems like. How many businesses do you have right now? Amazon business brands.
So February 2020, I acquired one and I exited from that business in May of 2021. And with those funds, I actually acquired three more brands that I'm operating right now.
Wow. Okay, that's great. The reason why we brought you up here because we wanted to learn and have our audience learn about a different kind of model, right? You know that there's a lot of models that people are just recently like trying to do FBA and trying to start everything, which is
Yeah.
hard. But you just came in with a lot of momentum because you have all the reviews. You know, you can do upsells on your other products that you create. You know, and it's like so much potential in it. I've for from us, a marketing agency side, we actually scale a lot of brands going up from where they stopped. They don't really have exactly a direction, and we
Mhm.
just go in and increase their sales by a lot, and then they go in and sell their brand to a aggregator or some other broker, right?
Mhm.
So it's really interesting. It's a new kind of a niche, I would say. Yeah, on like what we're doing, what we were helping clients do, as well as what you're doing right now.
Mhm.
So if you have a certain amount of money and you don't know what to do with it, this is a cash flow business, right? So then you
Correct.
can just like uh, put it in there, and then it will generate cash. Of course, you need to maintain it through an agency or yourself. So that's the only point that you need to watch out for. But it's like kind of interesting model. You know, I bought a lot of brands too myself. Like Empire for the Bride brought some affiliate marketing, affiliate ones, affiliate blogs. I bought a lot of affiliate blogs. I bought a lot of other like brands and stuff like that. But you know, it's just like so that it's easier for us to get on there, and especially like you can later on learn the kind of backtrack and learn the other stuff that you don't know. But at least you have a momentum and flying and stuff. Maybe you can kind of tell us about that kind of experience and show and kind of explain what to our other audiences out there. Uh, what do you learn and anything that you can educate them on.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I when I got into Amazon, right, FBA in 2020, I wasn't sure. I had never, first of all, when I started looking into this business, it didn't make sense to me when the broker, when I called him, he said, well, this is a business where you sell products on Amazon. And I'm thinking, how do I sell products on Amazon? It's kind of one of those things where, um, that was brand new for me. Everything was brand new. So for me, it was like I was learning everything from kind of like foundational levels. So the moment I logged in, the first time I logged in to Seller Central was in February 2020. So, and that was, and due diligence too, when I acquired it, it was, I didn't even know what the due diligence took for an e-commerce business and things like that. So my skill has mostly been in acquiring and scaling and kind of doing the exit part of it, right? So for me, I look at the year and a half, last year and a half of what I've done. It's everything is more of like going back to basics. If we use the skills that are put in place, or the tools that are put in place, and just kind of hone into that. And the more with Amazon, what I've learned is the more complicated you make it, the more complicated it is. The simple you keep it, the simple it is. So it's kind of that's what I have really understood, and that's how I feel like I'm going to keep my business model, and how I'm going to be operating my businesses, is keeping it simple. Because a lot of people, you get a lot of advice out there. There's a lot of videos, a lot of blogs, a lot of people saying do this, do that, do that. But then, does it really work for your business? Does it work for your Amazon business? I have acquired 3 different brands. Those 3 different brands need different kind of attention. And if I take one advice and try to apply that one thing to all 3 brands, it's not going to work. Maybe it might work for one, but then it's not going to work for the other 2. And then it's actually I'm going to be working harder to go back to what it was. So that's kind of how I feel with Amazon business.
Yeah, that's I understand. Like maybe some category differences that you can't really use it for this category. It doesn't have this, let's say, subscribe and save. The other one does. You know, like I understand that part.
Yeah.
Um, can you tell us like when you first approach a brand to like right nowadays the 3 that you purchased, maybe you could tell us how did you do your DD, your due diligence on it?
Yeah, so the due diligence, I actually have a checklist of my own that I go through, and I actually send that Excel spreadsheet of like checklist that initially I got that checklist from when I was selling the business, right? So when I was exiting the business, so I was like, oh, this is interesting. So now I have kind of fine-tuned it and tailored it to my what I'm looking for in businesses when I acquire. So I have a spreadsheet of I need access, of course, access to FBA, the Seller Central account. Those things are one thing, but then also what I want to know, and the questions that I have is what kind of issues was the seller facing, that that's more of my due diligence rather than, okay, let's look at if they put the dollar amounts exactly to where it is and dig deeper and deeper and deeper. Yes, there might be a $100 or $1,000 here there, which I don't really worry too much about, but I go more into like, what is it, how can I grow this business more, is kind of what I do more of. With the due diligence, I did with the three brands I've acquired. Two of them actually went really well. All of the things that I had asked for, they had provided all the documents, all of the customs documents, everything that that's on that Excel spreadsheet they provided. One of the one is really I had some struggle with, was a brand new product that they were launching, and that actually I did not realize that that had a patent. That was it. They had actually copied it from like a patented product. So that is one thing that I should have done a little bit more in-depth analysis of, and that's something that we are kind of in a situation where I'm dealing with kind of that situation. But due diligence wise, that's kind of usually what I'm doing.
Interesting. So we help companies do DD. We
Okay.
look at their overall market share, just the big market side, and then we go look at their strategies, what kind of things that they're doing, and then what we can actually do to improve it. And then we go down to that's a brand level or niche level, and then we go down to the ASIN level and see what we can do into the ASIN, where what is the action plan for each of these ASIN sites. So it's like kind of like a funnel approach on their brand and stuff like that. So yeah, that's we see that a lot, and then we have a strategy in order to approach to attack to grow the brand and stuff like that. So this is on our side at least. That's what we do for the client, but usually bigger clients because maybe like 8-9 figures or even 10-figure sellers we kind of work with on that. Maybe you can kind of I'm not sure if it's too confidential, but is there like a sales growth or some kind of things for our audience to kind of understand like how big or how did you scale it? What kind of a dollar amount that you scaled it to? Something like that, so that the audience kind of understands, like when you first bought that one company, you scaled it this, and then you split it up and you got 3 companies, and then how did you scale it?
Yeah, of course. So I'll try to go in as much detail as I can with that. So with the first one, so I acquired that in February of 2020. It was a board games business. So with that, since it was my first business that I acquired, I was learning everything. And I felt like I was bringing in a lot of the brick and mortar business experience that I had kind of learned with inventory management and things like that. So when I acquired it, it was actually doing well, and my idea was to just keep it that way. I was like, wow, it's already making that much money. If I can just manage it and maintain it like that, I have an income. But then immediately, with COVID starting and things like that, the inventory that I had acquired when I acquired that business was supposed to last me until October of that year. But all of a sudden I saw, like, people are ordering more because it was board games, and I kind of did some math, and I was like, okay, with this inventory that I have, this is not going to last me until October. So, with my calculation, it was going to run out by the end of June of that year. So I contacted the supplier, and I said, hey, how's it going there? How are you guys doing? And they're like, we are in the process of sending everybody back to their villages. We are shutting down. And here I'm thinking, I'm like, oh my God, I just bought this business and it's going to not have inventory to sell. I don't know what to do. And I asked her, so what's the process? Well, when do you think you're going to come back there? She's like, we have no idea. It's going to be definitely after, Chinese New Year and things like that. So we had this conversation. And I said, so when should I place an order? Like, for you to, whenever you come back to start? She's like, first come, first serve. Whoever places order with us, we are going to start producing for them. And so here I am. I just kind of did some calculations, and I sent her the next day. I sent her an order for 8 containers worth of products.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, a month and a half into, not even a month and a half actually, I would say about a month into the business. I just said, I sent her an Excel spreadsheet. Here's 8 containers worth of order. When you come back, send it to me. Of course, she called me back and she's like, "Are you sure? Did you mean 8? 8 SKUs or 8 containers? What is this?" Yeah. So that's kind of what happened. And with that, they actually came back at the end of May to the factories, and they started producing. Immediately, they started production. So that did 2 things. They actually sent me 1 container every month. For the thing. So I had good payment terms with them. I had a 30-30-70, 30-30-40 payment term, which worked out well because it was kind of like I was getting money with the revenue generated and kind of putting it back into the stocks.
Can you explain that 30-30-40 to our audience?
Yeah, so 30% is at the time of production. They start the production. 30% when they actually put it on the container and send it out, and 40% when it reaches the port. So that was the payment term, and which I have that right now with all of my suppliers, because that makes it kind of like simple to make sure that we have a good flow of orders going. And so that's what happened. And they sent me a container every month. And that did a couple of things. We were always in stock. And the other thing is my competitors, I knew who were buying from the same supplier. So they kind of, had to wait until all of my 8 containers were done, which was the entire year. So, a lot of them actually were out of stock at that time. That was one of the biggest, I think, thing that helped me scale that business, because we were in stock. And then there were other things like, logistical changes. The previous owner had it as coming to New Jersey. The containers were taking 2.5 months to reach New Jersey, and it was costing more. So I just switched it to LA. We were getting it in stock faster. It was costing us less. And then we had a price increase. We had to increase the price because it was just, there was a point where I was increasing. The more I increased the price, the more we were selling. So it was kind of one of those crazy things. And at one point, we kind of reached where I'm like, I don't want to raise it anymore. We want to keep it at a good place. That was another thing. PPC campaigns wise, we put in a lot more money into PPC campaigns at that time. The previous owner had a PPC management company that I just continued working with because I had no idea what I was doing with that. So I just continued with them. About 6 months down the line, Amazon actually contacted me, and they said, we would like to run DSP campaigns for you. And I was like, sure, what's the budget? And they said $35,000 a month. And I was like, no way, I am not going to be able to do $35,000 a month in ad spend. And of course, it was more of me not knowing what DSP campaign was and what to do with it and things like that. So I said I would feel comfortable if it were in the $15,000 range. And it's kind of funny because I didn't know at that time that Amazon really doesn't negotiate on those things, but I just negotiated. I said, if you wanted to do that, then I can, maybe start with $15,000 a month. And they took a couple of days, and they came back and they said, we had a team discussion about this. We really want to run the DSP campaign for your brand. So we will set it up for $15,000 a month. They're like, okay, let's do that. And that actually really did a big, it had a big difference on sales, where we were selling. We almost, I would say, increased it by 40%. So which was huge numbers.
I mean, before anything, so DSP campaigns, and you increase your sales by 40% after doing DSP. How was the rollout? How was everything? How did that go? Usually, sorry, because the reason why I'm saying is usually when Amazon takes over your DSP, they will spend a lot and they don't really optimize for ROAS. Go ahead.
Yeah. So our overall ROAS was between 9 and 11 at any point. Yeah. So we were doing great with that. So I took that very seriously when they started doing that, and I followed up with them, and I had the meetings every week with them, and I was asking them questions because I needed to understand, because I didn't know what those metrics were. Just from learning what is ACOS and what is tacos to, all those things, I had to learn everything from scratch. Before Amazon, all I have done is check my emails and my bank account on the computer. Other than that, I hadn't done anything, right? So no e-com background. So for me, I was, I think, asking questions because I wanted to understand, which actually put a little bit more pressure, I think, on them to kind of do more. And some numbers just didn't make sense to me. I was like, you mean we are getting these many conversions and these many clicks, and this much conversion, but what is the point in doing something like this? So it's kind of like, I think I was asking almost to a point of like silly questions, where for them it was like, that's true. Why is it? It's kind of one of those things, until you don't ask, it's not looked into, right? So I think that's kind of what happened.
Yeah, I understand.
Yep. So we were talking about that business, and so these are like, some smaller changes with logistical changes and things like that, making sure we are in stock all the time. That was the key. Even with doing all of that, those changes, we actually did run out of stock in December of 2020, because Amazon was slower to take things in at that time. Still, with that, we actually had a good 7-figure profit year. That year, that first year, from February to December, we had a good 7-figure profits.
When you said you were like, it was. Is it the container not coming in on time, the 8 containers, or is it because you just you sold out of the 8 containers?
Well, we just couldn't get it fast enough into Amazon, because Amazon slowed down so much towards the end of 2020, that we just couldn't get it into the warehouses. So I was container to container. As the containers were coming, I've actually sent 2 containers straight to Amazon at that time. So that was possible back then. So I was sending straight from the port straight to Amazon. The labeling was done, FBA labeling and everything was being done back in China, and we were sending it straight to Amazon. With even with all of that, since we were selling so much of it, and with the DSP campaign, everything was like, we were selling out of a lot of things. And towards the end, it just came to a point where it was outside Amazon warehouses in some trucks, I guess. So we just couldn't get it in. And I think it was December 16th or something like that we just ran out of stock. If we had a stock from December 16th till that 23rd, we would have sold a lot more. And kind of had a good, much better year. So numbers wise, so I acquired that business for 1.1 million in February 2020, and May 2021 I sold it for 5.5 million.
May 2021. So that was like a year. So you from 1.1 million to 5 million.
Correct.
Bad. 4 times.
Not bad.
4 times. So that was the 1.1 million that you purchased it for. What was the EBITDA, or what was the SDE? What was that?
It was 347, something like that, if I remember correctly.
347. That would be a yearly profit usually. So if people don't know what that is, and the multiple was probably like a 3 or something like that, right?
Right. So it's so we're thinking about. So we did a 3-year multiple. So 3 times that. And again, it was at that time, it was I think not a big Amazon FBA businesses were not so much in demand and things like that. And also I also didn't really I negotiated, I think, a little bit for that, but then I was just happy that I was going to be making that kind of money sitting at home, and it was just one of those things that
this is very impressive, because in the year, usually, in the year, okay, so from what my experience is, a seller that learns going to be like Amazon, and within a year, they maybe usually get up to $1 million in sales, right, from within a year. And then from what you're doing, which is buy, scale, and sell, you buy it at 1 million, and then you sell it, and you scale it, and then you sell it at 5 million. So that within that 1 year, you're already 4 times, like the amount of amount you put in, right? So that's really, really good. That's impressive.
Thank you.
Maybe you can continue on. After you sold the business at 5 million, you bought what kind of brands? I want to go through your journey.
Yeah. So once I exited, again, my plan was to actually take a break. That didn't happen again. So never did I kind of have to have that time to take a break, because once I exited, I was thinking, okay, I'll take a couple months, travel, go to India, wherever, and all that. But right away, one of the listings caught my eye, and I predominantly work with. And I work with Quite Light, so I kind of keep an eye on their listings and things like that. I have a good relationship with one of the brokers, and a lot of all of them are really good. And so, I saw the listing. I contacted the broker, and that listing already had multiple offers already, and that was in the automotive niche. So, product selection wise, or business, when I'm buying businesses, I'm really not looking at what product they're selling. I'm looking for more of what process they have in place, and what can I bring to the table, and what is my skill set, how is it going to scale from where it is, how can I scale, do I have the capability, do I have the skill set to do it. That's what I'm looking for. So I kind of, looked at that business. I put in an offer, but they had, more than asking price offers already, kind of thing. So, and I was like, okay, I'm not, and I wasn't going to be desperate. I was ready to wait for the right business. at the right price and something that I can actually scale. So they had offers, and they kind of went into their kind of LOIs and things like that. Something happened and it didn't work out. They came back to me, and I said, okay, now the price has gone down. So because I was looking at other brands, so I ended up acquiring another brand for just about $1 million, and I'm working on scaling that now. So same kind of scenarios with logistical changes and PPC campaigns and inventory management. So that's one brand. Ever since I kind of acquired it and started PPC campaigns on there, I'm actually not able to keep up with the demand. So we are already right there itself. We were able to scale right away. Because there were no I think there was like a $300 monthly budget when I acquired it from the previous seller. Now we are doing, we are spending about $30,000 a month in PPC campaigns. So we have that kind of growth. So that's something that I'm like, let's do this. Let's keep up with the demand. And so many, those are the changes, some of the changes that I've made, and some listing changes, listing updates, and some quality control changes for the product itself. So now that product was considered dangerous goods, like hazmat. And I was like, okay, why is it considered hazmat? And we were paying more money for the container because it had to be for the dangerous goods, flammable containers, kind of thing. So to control the, I think the temperature and things like that. So looked at it, and it was just that thing had a small, tiny tube of glue, which was making it dangerous goods product, hazmat. So, and we're like, okay, I kind of looked into what importance it has for that product, and it really didn't do much. And if the customer wanted, they could literally take any kind of the strong glues and use it with that. So we just took that out of it, and we took, it became from dangerous to non-dangerous goods. I would say we are starting to save money on containers, and the sending to FBA also is now much cheaper. So all in all, we just added about $20,000 per container in profits straight into the business. So it's kind of little things like that. And then the other brand it's a supplements brand that I've acquired. It's a very, very small brand that I have acquired. I actually liked the branding a lot. When I saw the product, I was just really it was one of those I don't want to say impulse buys, but it was like, oh, this is something I really, really want to own and run. And it was a very small, it was, let's see, I think it's like it's not it's 5 figures. I got it for 5 figures. And I'm hoping to scale that as well. So that is also, knock on wood, kind of working well. It's I'm kind of doing the PPC campaigns, the influencer campaigns and things like that on that, which is working out well. Scaling that. We have another home and garden product that I acquired, which is also doing well.
So how much did you purchase the home and garden
product? That was about 500,000.
500,000.
Mm-hmm. So 1,500,000 and 50,000. 3 businesses.
Oh, wait, 50,000 for the supplements? Wow, that's okay. that was for your first purchase was the auto, right? Was that the auto? The auto was what you got it at 1 million. When did you purchase that one exactly? Do you know around what date?
Let's see, May, June, July, end of July, actually. I think first week of August. Right after I exited from the other.
July 2021.
21, yes.
Okay, and then that's like what right now it's like a year almost.
Yeah, yeah.
How's that one doing?
Yeah, that's the one that I'm trying to keep up with the demand, and I, again, like I said, I get a lot of advice like, hey, launch more SKUs, do this, do that, but I'm like, when I'm not even able to keep up with the demand for the one SKU I have, why should I go into branching out and kind of losing my focus, on doing more things. So we have actually, at this point, I can definitely say that we have doubled the business revenues, and product. Actually, our margins have also gone up, and we have definitely doubled the revenue.
How about the fun brand, the 50K supplement? Probably looks really cute and stuff, right? From what I can think is like kind of like a maybe some kind of fun brand makes it looks cute, and then you launch.
The Well, it actually looks very classy. That's the thing. It's more than anything. The brand name itself and the product labeling, the listing is all done very well. That's one thing that I consider as my weakness is actually listing products. To be honest with you, so I when I see some brands, I'm like, wow, how did they do that? It's just one of those things. Since I'm so since my skill set is operations, right? So I know I'm good at one thing. Then my thought process is, when I'm not, when I know what my weakness is, why go looking for more things there? I'll just keep making my strength into more, my strength is more stronger, take it to more stronger levels than kind of go into. So I kind of look for brands. That's kind of what happened. Is I was looking at the listing, and I was like, wow, this is something that I really think that I can. It was more of like, I also wanted to understand everything that I've learned from the previous business that I exited. Can I apply it? How can I apply those skills that, or those things that I have learned from growing that business? How can I apply those here? Can I grow it at any level? Or should I be buying $1 million businesses? Is that the good place? So it's more of kind of like an experiment that I'm doing at this point, to see what's a sweet spot, what's a good place to start. When you acquire a business, what is the right place to acquire it, and how much can we scale from what level? So from a already doing well to like, okay, we need to inject more capital and more things into it. So how do we kind of do? What kind of businesses going forward should I be acquiring? So this is kind of like an experiment period for me.
So for the 50K supplement brand, when did you purchase it again?
That was October, towards the end of October of last year, 2021.
Okay. Is there any substantial growth on it? Did you?
Yeah, the subscribe and save is growing fast. And the PPC cost on that, obviously is quite up there. But the subscribe and save is growing, pretty rapidly, which is actually what I'm really enjoying watching. Different things that I'm doing too with coupons and things like that, how it's affecting the subscribe and save growth and things like that. So yeah.
So for the audience here, subscribe and save is when you like supplements, right? So it's like when you every month you can kind of you kind of buy it on every subscribe and save, and every month they would probably like give automatically send you the same product and bill you. So it's like automated. So that's really cool. So what it is subscribe and save is great for the lifetime value of the customer. So if maybe you'll lose money in the first or the ACOS, like you said, PPC is expensive, but in the long run you make a lot more because of the lifetime value of the customer. So this is what you're talking about, right?
Correct.
So where is it at now? Like, what are we looking at right now? Like the sales. Do you
Yeah, the sales have increased. So we actually hit a bit of a snag. We I had started PPC campaigns right after I acquired it. So October end I acquired it. November we had started putting in more budget into PPC. Since the previous owner was not doing too much of PPC, this was like great. It picked up a lot. And unfortunately, in like end of January, we started running out of stock because the PPC campaign took off so rapidly, which was not expected. But also the supply chain issues and things like that. We just ran out of stock, and I just could not get it back in stock, no matter what I did. Of course, I during that time I kind of looked for more stable suppliers, more kind of like somebody who could constantly be. I went straight to the source. So before, the previous owner was working with third parties to get the supplements in, and I guess they didn't manage it very well, so we ran out of stock, and they just couldn't get us back in stock for a few weeks. And then I just decided to figure out who the source, like where the product was coming from. But I realized their MOQ was higher, which is minimum order quantity was higher. And so what I did, I had to put in a little bit more capital to get them, because we were selling out. So there's
Another 8 containers, right? Another 8 containers.
right. Yes, exactly that situation.
So for the people that don't know, subscribe and save is great for lifetime value. But if you stop and if your inventory stop running out, you will lose your subscribe and save customers.
Yeah.
So it's very dangerous if you don't have it in stock.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what happened to one of the products, which we just couldn't. I just couldn't get it in stock in time. They do give you, Amazon does give you a good 90 days for you to get it in stock before they. Actually, I'm sorry, not 90 days, 180 days to get it in stock. And if you don't get it in stock by then, you lose all of your subscribe and save. And for that product has to do certain number of sales before they can actually give you back that subscribe and save for that product. But I do have subscribe and save on the other ones because I was able to. I think in 2 months I was able to get it back in stock and kind of get it going.
Sounds good. So at the end, let's just say where you at on the supplement brand? Just
The growth wise, we have actually grown at 300%, or in the last few months, even with the stockouts and things like that. We've been able to grow it.
sounds great. Now we kind of know where you're at on your auto, right? It was at 2 million, and the supplement one you've grown with up to 300%. How
Yeah.
about our home and garden product, the home and garden brand that you purchased?
The home and garden brand is where we had one product that's kind of it was a copy of a patented product, which I caught after the acquisition. So I'm in that process of kind of going back and forth with the seller to kind of settle that. And I still don't know which direction that's going to go, that settlement. So I'm not really focusing too much time and effort into it. I'm keeping up the business. We are in stock. Everything is going well. The business is stable, but I haven't invested into PPC campaigns and changes to that product yet, since I don't know which direction that's going to go.
Understand the outcome. You don't want to invest in something that you don't know the uncertainty
Yeah.
on results. So yeah, your like I would say this is a classic example of what aggregators want to do, right, with brands and stuff like that. But in reality, like a lot of aggregators out there that don't know Amazon, they lack the knowledge of the operation.
Mhm.
They not lack the knowledge of, hey, we need to stock up not six containers, 8 containers,
8 containers, yeah.
9 containers, and stock up, and then that's where it is. Like you lose your momentum, and it just dies. So the inventory control, and then also the brand selection.
Mhm.
Selecting the correct brand, I would say, is really important.
Yeah.
So those three things is the ones that would kill any aggregator if they are done incorrectly.
Yeah.
So, what else can you tell us about your journey, and what was some kind of like advice to our audience?
Yeah. So first thing is, if my I always think this is like, okay, if because people ask me like, what do I need to know, how, what kind of experience do I need to have, and things like that. I think it's experience wise, running any business, it might be Amazon FBA or a brick and mortar, whichever. If we have the ability to listen to our inner voice and take risks, that's kind of what it is. At the end of the day, I mean, people ask me, 8 containers. Why did you do 8 containers? What possessed you to order 8 containers? For me, it was like, it was math and logic. It was simply, I was calculating, and I calculated where, okay, if I did get stuck with that 8 containers, what if, what if I'm stuck with that? How much is it I'm going to be paying for storing that product? What is it that I might be losing? That's a calculation. That was a calculated risk that I had to take to grow this business. It was not, I was not greedy, or I was not, I just calculated, and just simply went with that. So I would say, knowing the numbers in any business is very, very important. That is another thing. um, like I said, with one unit, if I have to store it in the warehouse, how much does it cost? And a lot of people don't even realize it costs pennies to store a product in the warehouse per month. So, like, the unit I was selling, the product that I was selling, if I were to store that product in a warehouse, per unit I was going to be paying 7 to 9 cents, depending on the size, so how many in a case, right? So 7 to 9 cents. But if I did not have that same product in stock, I was losing 12, $15 in profit for that same unit. So even if I were to keep that product in the warehouse for 6 months, I am paying 50, 60 cents for that product, but I will be losing that 12, $15 per unit profit. So, like, knowing those simple kind of numbers, it really helps, kind of understand the big picture, and really how to scale your business.
For like I see where you're coming from. I see you're saying operation wise you're great. It's probably from the experience you had from your last the job before, right? Or was it the franchise, the three
Right,
branch?
right, right.
You
Yeah.
had, so that was that the bank, or what was that?
No, so the bank was I used to be working in a corporate world, like in the Wells Fargo, as a branch manager for a long time, until I had my second child, and then I took a break. That was the only time I got to take a break. I took a good 4-year break, and that's when I was planning to go back to work. And my husband was like, "You should start a business. You don't go back to work."
What was the three? What was that? The three branch? What
It
was that?
was a math and English learning
Oh
center.
yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
In English, I remember now. That was education and stuff.
correct.
Like all this stuff that you just said, it helps. It helps with this Amazon business actually,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
With the math and stuff like that, and also you have a gut feeling. You trust on your own skills or your own abilities. So that plus that it goes you overboard on the yeah. We should go all in. Let's go 8 containers now. That's really gutsy. So
Yeah.
for yeah, this is very interesting. What else do you Zichan? Do you have anything questions you want to ask?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, how many SKUs you like had in the first brand you acquired and then sold, and how many SKUs you have currently in each brand, and what is the price point you're dealing with?
Yeah. So the first brand had 18 SKUs. Again,
18.
variations, not different products, variations of sizes and colors for the
Mm-hmm.
product. So that was actually a little bit challenging in the beginning to kind of understand which one I needed, how much of stock, and things like that. But I think once I kind of got a handle of, okay, which one is selling more, which one is selling less, kind of try. And that was the Excel spreadsheet for the 8 containers of how many units per, and it was a calculation of how much can fit into each container, right? So all those things. So that was a pretty complicated 2 or 3 days of sitting in front of Excel spreadsheet and getting it done. So that was the first one. The automotive brand, I actually have one SKU, just one SKU. I'm looking into possibly going into color variations for that. But again, like I said, if I can't keep up with stock for this product that I'm doing, why kind of go distract myself and do other things? That's kind of where I am with this. And then the supplements, I have 5 SKUs. The home and garden, the ones that I'm able to kind of actually sell without the patent issues are two SKUs.
All right. So, like, what I am expecting, like, you just put the effort on the listing optimization and increasing the conversion side to grow your brand to increase the sales.
That and PPC, again, when we are talking about scaling, even saving money on expenses, right, is nothing but scaling. It's kind of one of
Yeah.
those things that,
Yeah.
money saved is money earned. Like when we are talking about scaling, also when I acquired it for a certain SDE, now my SDE automatically increases when I'm saving per container. I'm saving $20,000, because it went from being dangerous goods to a non-dangerous goods. So those things are also part of scaling. It doesn't kind of technically have to be always with revenue growth and things like that. So of course, that's what I consider. So
Scaling also the processes that you build in order for you to be able to sell, right? So,
yeah, absolutely.
can you tell us how is your team? How many people you have in your team?
Myself.
Oh my God.
So
Yes.
wow, this is great. This is great. That's great. So
I
I'm
need to learn. I need to learn to hire more people. That's one thing that I'm actually trying. I'm putting an effort. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, okay, if I want to acquire more brands, if I want to acquire, do more, then I need, more hands on deck. So, yeah.
if you need any help, let us know because we do
Yeah.
RPO and we
Yes.
help find like really good brand managers and PPC managers and people that can help your business for sure. And we'll probably able to even help with the helping you learn the scaling with people, because that's a
Yes.
hard. A lot of people can do a lot, but then later on they're only one person. So the thing is about how to build the operation, how to build
Right.
all that, so you can lay on the beach and have more time. Because a lot of the U.S. people, especially in the U.S., I would say Westerners, let's say, are not as motivated as the Chinese or the Indian, Pakistan, or other side because they like the 4 hour work week kind of stuff. They go into Thailand and everything like that. Not all, of course, but I'm saying like that's a mentality. But in China and other countries, like, oh shoot, 96, 9 hour work, 6 days a week, and then they need to have money to pay for houses. If you don't have a house in China, you don't have a car, you can't get married. So
Right.
this motivation is trying to get married, right?
What is your qualification? Do you have a house? Do you own a car?
Yes.
You
I'm
know.
not sure. Is that how India works?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
So
What?
that
Where do
drive,
you work?
yeah.
Where do you work? Do you work for a local company or a multinational company? Do you have a house? Do you have a car? What is your status?
So a lot of the Westerners say, "Wow, how come they're so driven? Because they have to survive. They have to have a family. That's why."
Competition,
Right?
competition.
Competition.
Yes.
there's a lot of competition because in China there's very little girls compared to the guys, right?
Yeah, yeah,
They always wanted back in the day they wanted to have like more guys to do the farms and all that stuff. So
yeah,
there's more guys than girls. So then the competition even more, right? That's why
yeah,
you have that. You have a house, you have a car, and
yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of
and
idea.
and also, more of anything, at least for me, it's when you grow up with at a certain, so when I was growing up, right, so we didn't have much. We were I would technically say we were poor. So we came to US 25 years back, 24 and a half years back, with $70 in our pocket between me and my husband. My husband came with $40. I had $30 when we flew. So, we literally did not have money to buy the flight ticket to come here, and had to take a loan from a relative to buy the flight ticket to come here. So, when we come from those situations, I think it's more of a drive to kind of see what it is that we can achieve. How much can we push ourselves, especially when we find good opportunities. Like, to be honest with you, Amazon FBA is an opportunity. It's kind of like finding this gold mine, to be
Mhm.
honest with you. And that's how I saw that, as I'm like, oh my God, I've been given this gift, by universe. I found Amazon FBA when I was not even looking for it, right? So how can I make the best use of it? What can I do with that? And kind of how much can we go? I think that drive comes from where your I think the background. It just comes from within. People have it, either they have it or they don't have it. So it's just one of those, and we can expect. I think even if you think about China or India, I don't think every person has that drive. It's the situations, it's the background that makes them have that drive, and kind of do something with it.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm.
Zishan, any other questions before we close
Yeah,
up?
the last one. Like, how many hours you are working per day for your brands? Like,
Um,
the only one, like, it's kind of hard. Like, you are managing three brands, and like you are the only one who are handling it. So, how many hours per day you are working on it?
yep. So I actually work for about 2 hours a day, just about 2 hours. My day doesn't start until at least until 11 o'clock. And I give myself time to kind of have a good time in the morning, spend some time with the kids. And my older one is in college now, she's back to college. So and and just do what I love to do, enjoy my coffee and do what I love to do. And then I start my day around 11 o'clock. Usually by 1 o'clock, I'm done, unless I have a call, or a podcast or something that it's scheduled at a different time. That day, I don't do anything in the morning at all. Then I just do something around that time.
So I just want to ask, like, you're using a lot of agencies, right? Because if you're one person, 2 hours a day, do you have a lot of agencies that you're using for
I
your
actually don't have any agencies right now. I'm actually running all the PPC campaigns and everything on my own. But I that's something that I'm thinking about, because I do want to free up a little bit more time. People are like, you only work 2 hours and you want to free up more time. It's more of like my mental space, not my physical time, but my mental space, to kind of maybe possibly acquire more brands, or it's kind of more focusing on the scaling aspect of it than the PPC and things like that. So yes.
sounds good. How about your DSP? Your DSP was only for that one first brand, right?
Yep. Yeah,
DSP.
but I'm actually so since we have the capability now to run DSP campaigns on our own, I'm doing that. So my larger brand, the automotive brand, I have a Amazon rep that I have a call with almost every week. And I talk to her about PPC campaigns, and she helps me tweak the campaigns on that. So what I learned from that, I just apply on the other two other two brands. So just kind of that's what I'm doing. So I learned the DSP campaign, how to set it up and do all that through Amazon rep on that one brand, and then I'm taking that and just applying that to the other brand.
Okay, sounds good. Zishan, you want to ask that question that you usually ask?
Yeah, so we do like have a last question at the end of the podcast, like the fun fact. So I would love to know, like, what is the funniest thing happened to you in your Amazon journey?
Oh, wow. Yeah. So the funniest thing.
Yeah,
I,
anything from the Amazon side which made you laugh? What is this?
Yeah, well, more of I think the first phone call I had with the PPC management company when I first acquired the business, right? And they kept saying ACOS, tacos, ROAS, and I'm like, what are they talking about? I have no idea. Why are they saying tacos? Are they saying they want to go to lunch? Like I didn't know what they're talking about, you know. So it was just for me for that moment. I didn't know what it was, and then I googled it. And I'm like, oh, this is what they're talking about. So and they kept saying tacos, tacos, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do with tacos? I didn't know what that meant. So that really was, I think, if I think about everything, the funniest thing that I think was that one.
All right. Great. So, okay, so our time is over. And thank you so much, Sumana. Thank you so much for joining us today and taking the time out and just like flooding with the really, really good information for our audience.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks, Jason.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye. Bye.